Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation on James. This is our third week.
Yeah. No, I mean this is our second. No, it's our third week. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, the document says number 3.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking the document was for the following week. I was all twisted in my head, so.
Welcome.
It is. It's week 3.
We're opening a coffee shop this week.
Yeah.
And spring cleaning. Don't forget about that.
Spring cleaning.
It's
Sunday. Whatever it is.
I feel like did we podcast last week? We did not.
No.
So we're off.
Yeah.
It's been a season of some heavy lifts, and so I just want you to know there's a disclaimer for whatever happens during this recording.
If it's too bad, we just don't post it, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no editing. Everything gets
It's
posted.
going live right now.
It's going live.
Just make sure if you could like and hit the bell, and then
Look,
leave your comments down below.
Ding! Hit the bell. Ring the doorbell.
Like it.
Isn't that what people see on YouTube?
Yeah.
What do they say?
No.
To get people to subscribe and then
Like and subscribe.
subscribe.
Well, they do say
Right,
click the
sometimes.
bell because then it gives you notifications every time they post.
that's
And then
one
they
thing I've
point
never
at
done.
This one.
Notifications. I have.
That's good.
I subscribe, but I don't think I've ever dinged the bell either. Now I need to know.
That's how they get paid.
That's how they get the dollar bills.
No.
I don't know. How do you get paid on YouTube? You should know this.
Ads.
Oh, ads. Somebody wants.
Well, people have to watch it, and then you get
Yeah.
ads, and then you get paid.
Yeah.
Well, so
We're talking about James today.
we are talking about
I
James.
think so.
I think we were this morning at about 5:00, maybe 5:30 this morning. I think I remember Greg going. I said we are ahead of schedule, and Greg said, "Well, nothing has really happened yet."
It was Greg's fault.
No.
We're just waiting for it.
Yeah, just waiting for it.
Oh, we found
And so then,
Hey,
and it wasn't us.
it's not our fault.
Yeah, there's actually no way that this can be pushed back onto any of us. But it's not. It's as small of a delay thing that as you could possibly have. But the company that works for the building that does the floor,
We're just putting them on blast here.
Good.
must just made a little mistake.
Made a
on the floor.
mistake, yeah.
On the floor.
And they're
Well,
fixing it though.
Made a
which is
little
great.
mistake on the floor.
I have
Like my dog.
I had a place that I was going with this. Is that
Oh, good.
I think, and I've failed today, is that James is about being in those moments,
Mhm.
and James is looking in the face of people that are in poverty, and persecution, and hardship, way more than a messed up wax floor,
Right.
and going, hey, you should still be Christ-like, Scott.
I think, I was reading through some of the message yesterday, and I was thinking about chapter 1, and chapter 1 kind of gives this list of attributes, and how you bring those into the rest of the book is something that I've been thinking about. Is like the persistence piece and growing in character. And what are you laughing at over there?
Consider it pure joy.
I know, right?
When your
Consider it pure
face-
joy.
Ruined wax floors of many kinds.
Because you get to grow.
Well,
Yay.
the thing is that I think that only can happen with what I would say is like a loop in your thinking. And so when you go, and I know some people, and I would like to be one of these people. And it's again, today I feel like I've had these moments where I go, I don't put a loop in my thinking. I just go, great, this is dumb. This is wasting my time. Blah blah. I can spiral that way, which is really unfortunate.
But I think I think that's normal. And
Or James does not have any grace for normal.
No, but, you read it that way. I don't always feel that way. I feel like when I'm reading James and I'm thinking about the people he's writing to, I feel like I haven't really felt this lack of grace as much as I've just felt like, hey, this is what we want to become. And it makes me go, okay, so when I am losing my mind driving somewhere and I'm behind somebody going 10 miles less than the speed limit, or in the pickup line and they're dropping their kids off. in the passing lane instead of, the things that just are small but drive you nuts. And it's like, how do you check those moments instead of letting them like start here and blow up? Because that's the other thing too, is James is always connecting to the Sermon on the Mount, like so much of his stuff. And like this week we're talking about favoritism, and the part that it connects to in the Sermon on the Mount talks a lot about like, you said, like it says don't murder, but also deal with your anger, and it's that seed, like where the murder starts. And it's like, how do you, when I'm losing it because someone's driving too slow or somebody makes a mistake with the wax floor, how do you deal with the seed so it doesn't become murder?
And in me, I definitely this something that I've brought up a couple of times in this walk through James, and I see it continually, is that you can really quickly go, yeah, James, you're saying a lot of really, really good things, and I really embrace it. I think it's wise, and I think culturally we would say these are important. But that there still can be a massive gap, because you can say, just leaning into today, it says, don't treat people with favoritism.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course. Except when it's me, and either I'm being treated as the favorite, or it makes sense for me to treat somebody as the favorite.
Yeah.
And that's really broken. And so that's where the Sermon on the Mount, James and his intentionality in this is that, for me, I think that I do see grace in James, but it is in an intense calling for you to slow down and think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think every verse in James should have a hyperlink to 1 John 2. It's a hey, do these things.
Also,
don't be a dum-dum, but if you are, there's Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, do these things.
Yeah. Don't be a dum-dum.
Don't be a dum-dum, but if you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how it always has my name in there.
Don't be a dum-dum.
Don't be a dum-dum, Scott.
But, and so just reaching into today, James gives this, we see that it's about favoritism, but it's not just about elevating some, it's also about deflating others. And those things go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I think it's beautiful and really, really challenging to think about, what really leads somebody to treat somebody better than others, or to treat somebody worse than others.
Well, and I think it's not just about elevating and deflating. I think it's about seeing the humanness in all of us.
Yes.
Like the sacred in humanity, and like people being created in the image of God, and just in who they are, whether they bring value or not, they're human. And like, because I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was thinking about how we could view somebody who can come into a room and you can show them favoritism because of the value they bring to you, or to the church, or to your business, or whatever. And it's still treating them as an object versus as a sacred human. Like it still removes their humanness when we look at people for what value they bring, whether it's less or more.
I think Jesus is, or I think James is saying, and I think Jesus echoes it, it can be tempting to look at people and say, these people bring value, these people don't. So I'm going to, prioritize these people. But I think what I hear is that Jesus says everybody brings value.
Right.
Yeah.
That everybody has value and a place and an importance. And so it's not even over elevating, I think, the problem. That only becomes a problem when other people are not elevated as well.
Yeah.
I think
I think that's
a good process of thinking through this, and it's kind of a part of our conversation on Sunday, is that there's been people probably in all of our lives that have, like, you feel important around them. You feel heard, you feel recognized, you feel valued. And
Isabel.
Yeah, that's a good one. And so the thing is that some of them are really, like, maybe not everyone that everybody will be thinking about, but a lot of those people that will come to mind they've done that for lots of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's their character trait.
Yeah.
And when we loop that into the Gospels, and Jesus, he interacted with. I mean, we get a glimpse of it in the Gospels, but in his years of ministry, he interacted with thousands of people. Which the repetitive nature of the Gospel text is that all of them are like, "Can you believe I was that important to Jesus?" And he stops on a road. He hears their cry. He dignifies them. He touches them when culture says don't touch them. He all these things, and it's in the midst of that, everybody would who had those experiences would be like staggered back, going, "Wow, that guy actually sees me as a person and cares about me and values me and my experience." And
Isn't that it's the same, I mean, that's the biblical story, but it's also the same story that's happening now. Like when you have a moment in life where you look back and you go, when I was in these moments, none of it made sense. But when I look back now, like it actually like makes sense to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one way that could have happened, and that's because Jesus, like all along, knew the value of me and wanting me to participate in what he's doing. And like, I don't know, I just have those moments where I'm like right, if you're in a season of life where it doesn't make sense, it's hard, it's difficult, it's whatever. My faith says, in the future you look back and be like, oh, it did make sense. I just didn't have perspective for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful, but also the terrible of that is that Jesus doesn't have like these goggles that blur it so that everybody looks really good. He really sees true, like sees potential, sees hope, sees beauty, sees what is created.
Yeah, but it's also not just potential.
Yeah, it's not. Yes, exactly. That's where I feel like it's so easy to say, well, I'm supposed to have these ignorant goggles that look at everybody and go, "You're a wonderful person." It's kind of like I would stereotypically.
You could be valuable.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in like an infatuation stage of love when somebody would just say, "Oh, there's no fault in you at all." That's not what God sees.
Mm-hmm.
But he truly does, again, value. And so to take that on and then to remember that James is writing to an initial audience that is like their world is turned to 11, this extreme of hard.
Yeah.
And in the midst of hard, when it's so easy to be focused on self-preservation, so easy to be focused on how terrible people are, to just go, nope, you should... It's not bad for you to treat the wealthy person who walks in the room well, but also you should treat the person who's impoverished and who has nothing to offer to you well.
Yeah.
I think it's treat all well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gregor said
I think too, it's like this, like in some of the Sermon on the Mount, they were talking about love. I mean, over and over again, talks about love your neighbor. And it was talking about connecting it to Leviticus, where it talks about welcoming the immigrant and the outsider, and thinking about the people Jesus was writing to or talking to. And like the people that were surrounding them were the Greek and the Roman oppressors and occupiers. And it's like the people that are also kind of hurting them, and to still love them as their neighbor and love, which is extra hard, I feel like. It adds another layer of like, oh, geez, this is tough.
Because in their story, what would they have done if they were having a gathering and a Roman authority came in?
Right?
They
would have been afraid.
But also in that fear, it's very easy to like try to win them over.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that same moment when you're giving so much attention and focus to that, a person who's been an annoyance or a blight to your life, your world walks in and you just like, get out of the way. I'm trying to save us here.
Yeah.
And like the declaration that people don't have value, and again, this is like, it's like sharp. It's usually not very subtle. Like, I would love it if you'd like, yeah, you know what, I think about it. I guess I treated that person with less value. Kinda. I'm like, no, it's really, it's so easy.
Yeah.
It's not even sneaky. It's everywhere. The potential, you have to slow down and go, nope. Let me see as Jesus sees. Let me love as Jesus loved and loves, and truly value everyone.
Yeah.
Again, the thing about James, and the thing that we have to, each of us have to be handed, is that it's to get the concept is super simple, but am I really gonna live this up?
Yeah. I think that like in James, just in like this moment, it calls us to be made perfect and to mature and to grow. And I think like something we talked about maybe in the first week, at least at Camden, we talked about a little bit, was this idea of feeling like you need to be perfect today. And in that moment, like in us pretending to be perfect today, it actually removes your growth because you're pretending. And it's like, how are we actually who we are today so we can continue to grow in these imperfect moments, when you make mistakes, when you screw up, when you treat somebody poorly, when you don't handle the favoritism piece well. How do you recognize that so you can grow? And I think all these moments are they're just pointing towards growth. And it's not today, because James wasn't writing this at the beginning of his life. He's writing it towards the end of his life.
Yep.
And it's like, it's not to be perfect today, to pretend you're perfect today. It's so we can mature and grow over time. And so I think that's like when we point that to the Sermon on the Mount and talking about do not murder, but also deal with your anger. I think it's just this continuous moment of just choosing to grow.
Yeah. And Jesus ends all of that with the illustration of building a house. And so whoever hears my word and puts it into practice is not going to prevent the wind and waves, but when they come, you're going to stand strong.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
That's good.
And that's, I guess, the good thing in it is that we have the rest of our lives to work on it.
Yep. It is the good thing. Which is wrap up. I always want to sing it. I feel like it should be.
The only thing I was thinking was you talked about goggles. Like Jesus doesn't have these goggles; he truly sees people. And I think all that is for us is Jesus is the goggles. Like that's the
put on your Jesus goggles.
Is for us to see people as Jesus did. And James. I
don't know. That's good.
See you guys.
See you.